Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be a story time. It is all things competing, absolutely uncut and raw, how hard it is to get to that stage, the things that I have gone through in the past 4 years competing in 4 competitions, actually 3 years in 4 competitions, going from 2017 in the Gold Coast to my most recent competition, which was October last year, the best condition of my life, what it actually requires for you to do to get in that shape, as well as a few tips and tricks so that you don't make the same mistakes that I've made in the past. And then also hopefully this inspires you to see how much you can actually change your body when you commit to something. So without further ado, let's get started and go back to how I got into competing. So I originally was with the brand EHP Labs in Perth, Australia. I'd been flown there for a fitness expo and I was going to be working on the sales side of the booth. I was rooming with this amazing girl called Rachel Dillon. At the time, neither of us had ever met each other. I'd never seen anything to do with her, and she was just so lovely. We roomed together, we went to the gym together, and I saw how good her body was, and I was like, what does this girl do? Turns out she was prepping for the World WBFF show, and I didn't at that point in time know what WBFF was. So as soon as I got home after the expo, I was super inspired by meeting her, seeing how she looked and how she trained when we went to the gym. So I sent her an email and I said, you know what, I want to do this WBFF thing that you're doing. You know, do you think we can do it? There's one in 16 weeks in the Gold Coast in May. So this is May 2017. And she emailed me back. She was super excited. She said, yes, you know what, we can do it, but you need to start now. So from that day, 101 days out, I decided that I would prep for my first ever WBFF bikini show. And that was it. Like, that is how it all started. So I started doing this prep, but it was very, very basic. It wasn't if it fits your macros based. It was following one meal plan that just kind of adjusted portion sizes throughout the prep. So it was 16 weeks of very clean foods. No one back then was really doing if it fits your macros. Like, I feel as if that's only really boomed now. So I followed this meal plan, but there were a lot of times where I just wanted extra peanut butter, and I was a little bit cheeky throughout the prep. But anyway, I kept going through the prep, and it was the first time that I ever actually leaned down and saw my abs. So I was really happy with that. I kept it nice and secret while I worked in quiet, and then I think at about 6 to 8 weeks out, I decided that I would announce it on Instagram that I was going to do the WBFF in Australia. So I booked Ross and my tickets. We flew over to Australia for the show. I stepped on that stage, and after all these weeks of following like boring meal plans and eating clean, not really like enjoying the process as much, I ended up stepping on that stage thinking like, oh, I'm never going to do this again. The whole prep I was thinking, oh, I don't want to do this again. But I stepped on that stage, the lights were shining down on me, and I loved every minute of it. I absolutely fell in love with being on that stage. And I had heard before going into it that people either compete and they'll absolutely love it, or they'll never do it again. And I knew from the moment I stepped on that stage that I wanted to do it again. So after that, I ended up indulging in all the treats that they had post-comp. I remember dipping a cookie into Nutella upstairs, absolutely crazy. Like, I had first call outs in the morning, and then by the afternoon, when we went out again in our gowns and our bikinis, I didn't get a call out, so I didn't really even care. I just wanted to step on stage and see if I could do it. But after that, there were 60 girls like on stage, and after that I realized, you know what, I didn't get placing. I didn't even care. I had so much fun. I absolutely loved it. I was stoked with first call outs, and for months after that, like the next day, there's a video on YouTube where Ross and I just went out eating across Gold Coast the whole day. And then after that, for months, I ended up going the complete opposite. I got a really bad case of post-comp blues, where you are just kind of shocked with what to do after the competition, because you spent so much time working for that one goal, and then once it's done, like, what do you do next? I had no goals in place. I had no support network to help me get through this. So I ended up eating and eating for months on end, and I went way up and beyond where I had actually started my prep. And this is kind of the dangers of doing a really strict diet plan or clean eating and eliminating certain foods instead of doing an if it fits your macros I guess approach to lifestyle dieting. Because then the second I opened up the doors to being able to eat different foods, I couldn't control myself with them. So I ended up going all the way up to 67.4, and my starting weight for comp prep was about, I think 64 kilos. So I ended up overshooting where I actually started my prep. I felt completely lost, and then there was just one day when I thought, you know what, enough is enough. I woke up that morning and I just had to do something to pull myself out of it. So I took some photos, I smiled in them because I knew that I never wanted to do this again. And I emailed Rachel, my other coach's sister, Emma, and I said to her, look, I really need some help, just help me get back on track. And so I went to her and I ended up doing a 10-week cut all the way down to 62.5 kilos. I did a photo shoot for my birthday, and I just wanted to do something that would help empower me. So I leaned down and I did this photo shoot in lingerie, completely different to anything else I'd done before. It was my birthday, I had a hotel room. It was just so empowering for me. So I absolutely love doing that. I love the photos even to this day. And I'm so proud of myself for doing that because I went into 24 in the best mindset I could have gone into it. Okay, and then from there, I ended up doing a 13-week reverse. So we slowly increased my calories up to over 2,500 every single day. So I was eating that, I was training really hard, I was building some muscle, and I just felt like I was ready to go into my next competition. So we're going into 2018. There's another competition in May in the Gold Coast, the same one. I wanted to do it. I knew I could do it. I had a more, like slightly more flexible approach. We went into that where I was counting my own macros and tracking my own foods, and I actually ended up stepping on that stage as in Julie 2.0, the best shape of my life at that point in time, and I walked away with second. So I went from nothing in a lineup of 60 girls to second place in my second show. I was over the moon, and the girl Frida that got first absolutely deserved it. I was just honored to come second to her. She looked absolutely amazing. I was really happy with my prep. And then after that, I went traveling and we went to Hawaii and things like that. So it was just the best experience to come second. I got a taste of what it feels like to be in that top 3. I was honestly just happy to be in the top 5. So in that year off, I ended up leaving Emma and I did my own thing. I built up some muscle. I found another coach from America. So I've had different coaches for every competition. So I went to this coach from America just because I liked her approach. I wanted to try someone new, went to her. She prepped me. We had diet breaks, which was new for me. We also had a lot of flexible dieting through it, so I could fit in ice creams on my prep, chocolate on my prep, diet breaks every few weeks, depending how I was progressing. And it was just a complete different prep again. I stepped up on the stage in the Gold Coast with the most incredible lineup. It's like each year everyone gets better and better, and I came third. The girl that came first was absolutely insane, and she went on to get her pro card and then win the pro show. So that goes to show like the standard of the girls in Australia you're standing up against. So coming third was absolutely incredible in that lineup. Again, top 3, so close to that number 1, but you know what, top 3, absolutely stoked. Went traveling. Ross proposed to me in Hawaii. We had the most incredible year, 2019, one of the best years of my life. I ended up, you know, going the other way a little bit after that because we were just traveling so much, and I was honestly just letting loose and loving life, which was awesome. No regrets there. But I did decide, you know what, it's coming to New Zealand, I may as well try it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to prep. I got another coach from Australia, a different one again. And in hindsight, I should have just stuck with one coach for all my preps because they would learn how my body responds and we would work together improving in the off season and the on season. But you learn from this. So anyway, I had my 4th competition coach, and it was interesting. The way that we prepped was a little bit different to how I prepped before. It was really focused on heavy lifting, which is awesome. I was getting really strong, but in the last kind of 6 weeks leading up to the competition, I just shred. I just kept getting smaller and smaller, and I ended up coming in at the lightest I have been since, I don't know, I was probably an intermediate. So since I was maybe 12, I was under 56 kilos on show day, which of course you would deplete in and things like that. But usually around show day, I'm 57 to 58 kilos. So being 55 to 56 kilos is absolutely tiny for me. I was in the best condition I have ever been in. Super shredded, so amazing, but it was the hardest prep I've ever had. 1, because I did 2 preps in a year. 2, I had no diet breaks. and 3, it just required like a next level mindset to get there. I've talked about how hard it is on my Instagram. I woke up once during that prep and I was chewing on an earplug. Like, how disgusting is that? I woke up so hungry, I was chewing on that. So you know what, my mind was just, I was just snappy. The last 8 weeks to the comp, or Ross would probably say the last 12 weeks to the comp, I was just grumpy. I wasn't fun to be around. I was so tiny and miserable. But come show day, I got up on that stage. I looked the best I'd ever looked. I was not nervous at all. My legs weren't shaking. I strutted my stuff on the stage. It's unfortunate that the New Zealand WBFF didn't have video cameras, like professional videographers there to film it, because I absolutely nailed it and I loved being on that stage. But unfortunately, it wasn't what the judges wanted, and this just goes to show how, I guess, subjective competing is. Like, you can be in the best shape of your life, but it doesn't actually matter. What matters is what, like, in terms of placings, what matters is what the judges want, and I wasn't it. So I actually went from, in my first show, getting nothing, to 2nd place to 3rd place to 7th place in New Zealand. And you know what? It happens. Like, all the girls that step on a stage, by the time they are ready to get on that stage, have worked so hard. They all look amazing. And it just comes down to, at the end of the day, what the judges want. So for me, that was really hard to handle. I was really shocked, but I think that setbacks make for even greater comebacks, and I learned from that. So I guess the few key things I really wanted to talk about with that, that's kind of like a big background story on how I've done, and a few photos to give you an idea of my fitness journey in the past 3 years of 4 competitions. Few key things I would say is picking your coach. It matters. Like, your coach should really care about your overall health. They should also understand the federation. Like, there's no need for a coach to get you super shredded if that's not what your category is about. Like, bikini, WBFF is not about being super shredded. It's about having a really, I guess, marketable look. Like, they want to see you on the front of a magazine kind of vibe. Making sure that you can trust that coach and you do what they say. Having a flexible approach to your dieting will set you up for a better post-comp. Make sure that you have a coach post-competition to help you stay on track and just come out reverse dieting after it, because post-competition is so much harder than the shred, and I cannot stress that enough. Post-comp is so hard. Competition prep is no joke. If you are looking to, you know, get fit and you want to have a healthy lifestyle, I don't recommend that you just take the plunge and go into competing first thing. Just like if you have any kind of eating disordered background, I don't recommend going into competing, because you're literally comparing yourself, or the judges are comparing yourself to other people on that stage. You're purely judged on how you look on the day, and it just can exacerbate some of the eating behaviors that you might have had when you did have the eating disorder. So that's just kind of something I really wanted to warn you of. The other thing is cost. Competing costs a lot of money. You're talking about hair, tan, makeup, registration, competition coaching, posing coaching, heels, bikini, dress. There are flights and accommodation if you're traveling for it as well. It is not a cheap sport or hobby to get into. So really think about why you want to do it. If you just want to get fit and feel really good and rock a bikini, you don't need to do a competition prep for it. Like, how I coach my girls on the squad is how I would train for a competition anyway. The only difference is how consistent you are with your nutrition. Like, if you stick to the macros I give you and you check in with me regularly, like I would do with the coach on competition prep, you get results. Consistency is what matters most. And when it comes to choosing a coach, make sure that if you are going to do competing, you have like a long-term plan. Make sure that they are willing to support you post-competition as well as the lead up to it, because I have had coaches that as soon as the competition's done, they're like, okay, you know, bye, and that's the end of that. Or they want to charge you like crazy amounts after the competition. I really think that it's important to make sure that you, at all stages of your fitness journey, whether you're competing or not, that you look after your mental and physical health. It's no lie that I have really struggled in the past 3 years with competing. I never look at what other women on the stage look like. I couldn't care less what anyone else is doing. I am tunnel vision all on myself. All I care about is that when I step on that stage, I know that 1, I get my all, and 2, I am the best version of myself. And every single time that I step on that stage, I am giving it my 110%. I looked the best I've ever looked, and I had like a stronger and more motivated prep than ever before. However, there is no point in choosing to go into a competition prep if you know that it's not in your best interest. Like right now, for me personally, with everything that's happening in the world, I just know that shredding is not the goal for me. Like after doing these competitions and things, after October, I got my period back and I lost it again when I started shredding to do the May show this year. At 6 weeks out from the competition, I found out that I would not be able to compete. It was really tough, but I managed to maintain that weight throughout lockdown. Didn't get my period back. I thought, oh, you know, I'm just stressed over the situation in the world right now. But you know what, fast forward a few months, I've gained some weight on purpose. I really needed to gain some weight. I needed to be eating more food. I'm eating well over 2,500 calories a day. I have gained weight, but I'm just trying to take care of my body and look after it. Like right now during winter, I'm not going out on a summer holiday. I'm not going to the beach. I'm not doing pool shoots. I am inside most of the time, especially when it's raining outside. So the biggest thing for me is to really make sure that my body is feeling healthy from the inside out, and then I'm taking care of myself regardless of the number on a scale. So for me moving forward, I kind of wanted to end this vlog with talking about my goals. Everyone, you know what, healthy looks different on everyone. So for me personally, healthy is gonna look different to what healthy for someone else looks like. Especially if you're a busy person, you're a mum, you know what? For you, maybe healthy means going to the gym 2 times a week and having the energy to run around with your kid. For someone else, it might be going to the gym 6 times a week and weight training. For someone else, it's going swimming daily or going on hikes in the weekends. So just don't define being healthy as having a 6-pack, or being healthy as looking like some girl you saw on Instagram. Aim to be the best version of you. Take care of yourself from the inside out. Be kind to yourself in your head and when you look in the mirror, and just realize that competing is not for everyone. It is not easy. So before you send someone a message, whether it's me or someone else saying, oh, I want to lean down as if I'm competing but not compete, honestly, it is not that easy. Just focus on nourishing your body, training with weights if you can, get into a gym, building some shape and taking care of yourself, and the results will come when you're consistent over a period of time. Like you can see, these progress photos didn't just happen overnight. It wasn't a 90-day shred. It was like years and years of hard work, and then a shred to reveal that hard work and shed some of the fat so that you can see my hard-earned muscle. And the last thing I'm going to say is that building muscle as women takes time, especially if you're going to do it naturally. And I prefer to be more aware of what I'm putting into my body. I do compete naturally, and that's just a choice of mine. I think that it's really important to just be realistic with your expectations of muscle gain and fat loss. Nothing happens overnight. Stay consistent, work hard, and the results will come. That was such a big chit chat from me. I really wanted to get this off my chest and just share some of my journey and where I'm going next. The next time I step on stage, it will be Anjuli 5.0, and I'm so excited for whenever that will be, hopefully in 2021. Thank you so much for listening to my story time. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you maybe learned something. And as always, if you did enjoy this video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and smile.